Okay, hello. I thought I'd just wait a moment, just let everybody have the chance to see if this is working, and I'll make a start in just a moment. Hopefully you can all hear me okay. I don't know how I'll tell if you can't. Cool. Hello everybody. Okay, just going to wait a couple of minutes, just let those that want to try and work out how to make this work get in, and then I'll start in just a moment. Cool, thanks for tuning in everyone. Like I say, it's my first time doing something like this, so I thought I'd have a little chat, let you know what to expect and bits and pieces. So like I say, I'll give it just a couple of minutes, let people work out how to turn it on. Brilliant, thanks Justin. So it is working, that's always a bonus. Superb. So there's still people coming in. So nice to see that you've made it, Jan. I'm glad that's worked. Excellent. Superb. Excellent. Looks like there's a good few people. This is great. So thanks for joining me on a Friday night. Okay, so I assume that this video should hopefully stay on Facebook for other people to have the opportunity to look at this at a later date. So I'm going to make a start now, and hopefully if people are coming into this slightly late, if they want to, they can hopefully get back to this. So yeah, that is it. What else is there to do on a Friday night? So brilliant. So thank you very much for joining me. So like I said in the comments earlier, this is the first time I've done one of these live events, so I don't really know how well they work and stuff like that. We'll just give it the best shot. I can see comments pop up on the screen in front of me, so I'll try and answer them or any questions that you have in a short while. What I thought I'd do to start with is just have a little breakdown on each of the 6 stages, talk through a few various bits and pieces, and then we'll go on to questions and answers at the end. So last Saturday I did my own version of S60 just to get an idea of what it would feel like for you guys, and if there's anything I've missed in the setting up of this event. So we start off on Tresco. So we will leave the quay, or meet at the quay on St Mary's at 8:15, and boat across to Tresco, to New Grimsby. We'll then put our bags, that are our running bags, in the waiting room then, and then walk round to the community centre, where the start and finish will happen. We'll have a quick race briefing, just running through a couple of things that are already mentioned in the information book, and then we'll set the timer going, and we'll start approximately 9:40, so it's going to be slightly earlier than originally planned. So we're going to aim to start at 9:40. The trick with trying to organise this is trying to make everything work so that the tides work, and everything else to be able to get to all these different islands at the different times. So we've had to bring it forward by 20 minutes because I misjudged one of the boats from Briar to St Martin's. I thought it was would take about half an hour, but actually it's about 45 minutes. So I need to give myself a little bit more time. So yes, we're starting on Tresco. Tresco is the first 6 kilometres or so is either concrete road or really nice trails. There's a couple of little smaller bits like thinner tracks, but generally it's really nice running. The first 2 to 3 kilometres is concrete road, which means everyone will get the chance to run at their own. Brilliant, I think you're all back, sorry. So yeah, everyone will get the chance to run at their own pace, find their place amongst the group before it starts getting thinner. The paths will get thinner just as we passed Old Grimsby. So on your maps that you've got in your books, in your information books, the top end, the north end of Tresco is where things will get trickier. Okay, so just checking, I've had a couple of bits saying the streaming stopped. Is it back working now? Can someone give me a thumbs up or something? Are we back there? Thumbs up, excellent winner, thanks everyone. Brilliant, yeah, so we're when you get to the north end of Tresco, you will be slowing down. Okay, so if your plan is to be running at 7 minutes and 15 seconds as your average, then you want to be quicker on the first 6k. Sorry, I'm getting a few comments saying I did see it got interrupted. I'm sorry about that, but I think it's up and running again now. So fingers crossed. Well, I'll just carry on and fingers crossed. If it doesn't work, send me another message, and I don't know, I'll try something. So the top 4k you will be running much slower than you would be. Sound but no video. Don't really know what to do. Can you? Is it still no video? Let's have a look. Sorry, everyone. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to finish this and then just start again. So hopefully it will just be a live thing. Because I'm getting lots of people are saying it is working. Yeah, all working again now. Cool, give me one moment. I've just had an email from someone saying that they can't log on. What I'll do is I'll try and come back. I'll try and post this up if it doesn't work, and try and send it out by email. I'll try and find some way of getting it out to everyone who hasn't been able to get there. So the top end of Tresco will be slower. So you want to be running at a comfortable pace on the first 6k. So then hopefully all goes well when it gets a bit more technical in the top end of Tresco. It's a beautiful stage. It should get everyone running nicely. You'll be running past the start, or very, very close to the start. So there'll be those that are spectating will be able to see you as you run past there. Then walk across to New Grimsby, which is where the finish line is. From there, once you've finished, grab your bags. The boat should be waiting. Now, these are all working keys that we'll be coming in and out of. So it may be on occasion that the boat's not alongside the quay, it's just waiting off to let other boats in and out. So it may be a case of just sitting down in the waiting room or finding somewhere to sit, grabbing some food, filling up your water bottles, all that kind of thing. Just get yourself sorted, start to fuel up, ready for the next stage. The second stage is Briar. So 7.9 kilometres. We got exactly an hour for Briar. Briar is probably the friendliest of all the islands to run around. It's a nice run all the way. There's lots of bits of technical. There's lots of open bits. It's a really nice, varied run, but with nothing really strenuous. It's just a really nice run, Briar. So yeah, nothing much to report from there. But after Briar, that's when we'll have about 45 minutes or so on the boat over to St Martin's. So for me personally, when I was running around Briar, I suddenly felt really hungry. So knowing that you've got a bit of time to eat real food, rather than maybe gels or little blocks of whatever you've cut up of food in your pockets, it was really nice for me to have a couple of sandwiches. So that worked really well. After Briar, we move on to St Martin's. St Martin's, 10 kilometres, 1 hour 15 is the cut-off. You start with a concrete road that's quite a fair uphill. You're running all the way up to the post office and then back down again, back down to the coast. There used to be a coast path, but it's all eroded now. So this is the only way that we can go to be as close to the coast path as possible. This will give us a chance again to spread out a little bit. When you run along the flats on the southwest side, it's a little bit sandy, but not deep sand. So it's a nice, it's not hard sand running. That's saved for later in the St Martin stage. And then around 6k, so halfway along the north edge, the path becomes much harder. There's a lot of a plant called flax that's quite overgrown on both sides, so you do feel almost like a kind of bushwhacking type thing. You are almost pushing yourself through these leaves. So please take your time, find your footing, and just really think about where you're going. Just take your time on those bits. There's a lot of winding bits around the edge of the coast, and then you'll come up this quite steep hill to this absolutely amazing view, really spectacular. And then heading back down, this is another thin path before you head up to the day mark. All of the areas that are potentially either thin or slightly tricky, or maybe a little bit more, I don't want to say dangerous, but a little bit more risky, where you've got to pay a bit more attention, they're going to be marked slightly differently. So if I just quickly tell you about the marking, so we're going to have ribbons, okay, tied onto various bits all along the runs. If it's a really long coast path that's really simple, then I'm not going to be bothered to put all of these out. These are going to be where people are going to make mistakes or where the path isn't obvious. So we're going to put these out. Should I think something be trickier, then I'm going to put 2 different coloured ribbons out next to each other. So if you see 2 that are hanging together, then you know, hang on a minute, maybe I'm just going to pay that little bit more attention to my footwork, to where I'm going, to make sure that I'm doing things just slightly safer. Apparently the flax has been cut down a little bit thanks to the Wildlife Trust this week, so thank you very much, Darren and team. That's excellent news, because that is hard going. I'm sure there'll still be plenty. That flax is really hard to cut through, and it's been a big problem for a fair while. But yeah, thanks, Aaron. We'll then head up the big hill to the day mark, the highest point there. From there, it's all slightly downhill pretty much. There's one more slight uphill, but generally the next 2 or 3k is all downhill. When you get to the lowest point, like down near to sea level, you are running on a path, but it is a sandy path, and it is quite draining of energy. Look for the grassier bits on the edge, something that's slightly harder, and it will give you a bit firmer footing and make it slightly easier. So on the maps that we've got, so the flax and the nice panoramic view is up here. Day mark's at the top here, and from there it's all slowly downhill until you're running along the edge of the beach here before coming back to the boat. St Mary's. So St Mary's follows on. So you've got about another half an hour boat ride. Again, get some fuel, and you've got St Mary's coming, an 18k run, so close to a half marathon, and it is, you're going to be 30k in then. So this is going to be quite tiring. However, the majority of the running is quite nice running. It's not super hilly, it's not really technical. There's a few slightly harder bits, but most of it is quite nice running. Really beautiful parts throughout. So in your packs, just like before, okay, so you're going to run around the garrison to start with. When you finish the garrison, you're going to go through a little tunnel. And as you run through the tunnel, it gets shallower. So for someone like me, I'm roughly 6'2", it's probably about armpit height. So I've really got to crouch low to get through. So yeah, definitely duck. Really bend low, watch your heads on that bit. You'll then run across Porthcrest to front, and then around, up around Peninis. There are a couple of quite steep uphills here. I've only ever walked them. They're far too steep to attempt to run up. And then the route carries on all the way around. Further on, roughly halfway, about 9k in, you've got Tolls Island. So you could be crossing over a beach, and then on a few rocks, maybe about 10 meters of rocks, before joining onto Tolls Island. The new timings should mean that even the fastest runners should get there with dry feet. If you're super quick, it may be that you're too quick and you've beaten the tide and you're going to get slightly damp feet. But fingers crossed, everyone should get there with dry feet. You run around the nice little island before rejoining back onto the main of St Mary's and following the coast path back around all the way back to the quay. So you've got 2 hours and 15 minutes for that 18 kilometres. It's a really nice run, but you will be tired at that point. So think about your fuel, both before and after St Mary's, so you've got something in you. So we then move on to St Agnes. St Agnes is really interesting. When you look at the elevation charts from the run, it's almost flat. A lot of people have said to me, it's over when you get to St Mary's. It's definitely not over when you finish St Mary's. St Agnes, although relatively flat, it is quite technical running. There's a lot of small footwork, really looking about where you're running. So you run around the main part of St Agnes, and then we cross over the sandbar, which will be all sands by then, and then we're running around Q, back across the sandbar. I've been advised by one of our locals that we should do the dune jump. So it's a jump of roughly knee high, rather than walking around onto the more sloped bit. However, you won't get penalised if you choose to look after your knees slightly and go slightly further round. So that bit will be marked, and I will remind people of that when we're actually arriving on St Agnes. But that's a nice little quirk. Again, crossing back over the bar, so just remembering that running across the bar both ways is quite hard work running on soft sand. So it will take a bit of energy before running back past the pub, back to the quay. Make it to the quay on time, all is good. You've got the final stretched of Tresco, but there's no cut-offs at Tresco, so you're all good. So we're going to start down low at Carnear. We're going to go a slightly different way than the way we ran to start with. When we first ran around Tresco, we stuck right to the edge. This time we're going to go almost directly up the middle to start with, until we get to one of the side doors of Tresco Abbey Gardens. We've been allowed through there now, so we're going to be running through the Abbey Gardens, which is a world-renowned gardens. So because there's no time limit, if you want, you can take that extra little bit of time just to look around and see some of the fantastic trees and plants that they've got there. We'll then carry back along the flats that we had run along earlier, back towards New Grimsby, and then rejoin in the coast path that we ran along earlier. However, this time, 3/4 along the way, when we get to Cromwell's Castle, it's not something you can miss, so don't worry about remembering the names. You're then heading up to King Charles's Castle. I'm really sorry, it's a really steep hill, and at 59 kilometres in, it is tough. But it's also beautiful. Take the time to look behind you, look around, and it really is spectacular. It's really, really worth the effort. And you get to the top there, and you can just see for absolutely miles, and it's all downhill from there. So you're just slowly heading back until you head back to the community centre. So most of the running until you get to New Grimsby is all quite comfortable concrete running. Personally, I actually found that really hard after a lot of trail running, but then you rejoin the trail for the last 3k or so, and it's great. It's a really nice run. So things that I learnt from there is really think about your bags. So like it's been mentioned many times before, we've not got energy stations, okay? This is a race all about you and your bag management and your self-management. So when you finish your stage, grab your bag. If you like to carry water when you're running, get that water bottle topped straight up. If you like to have food or gels or whatever you need, fill your pockets up, or your running belts, whatever you like to use. Get yourself all prepped, get that fuel in you, get yourself all sorted already. If you've got any niggles or any rubbings, get that sorted as quick as possible. For me, when I did it, the first 4 islands rained pretty much the whole time. So it was quite a cold and wet day out. So having 5 spare t-shirts to be able to put a dry one on each time, even though I was putting a damp fleece top on over the top, just picked me up enough to warm me up. Chuck a nice big jacket on straight away as soon as I finished, so that I could be warm while I was waiting around for the boats, while moving on the boats. So I had a question earlier in the week talking about what happens if you are to miss the cut-offs. So the way things will work, once we set the timers off, or once we say go, set the air horn off, the timer will start, and you will have the allotted time to finish that stage. Like I've said earlier, or in emails previously, if you can change the screens on your watches or phones, whatever you're using to record the race, if you want to use those kind of things, have an average pace rather than a current pace, because then you know what you're averaging, and if you're going to make the cut-offs, if you need to step it up a bit, or if you've got plenty of time and you can walk up those hills. So having that, possibly with a timer on it as well, so that you know if I say there's 75 minutes of this stage, then you've also got the time bit, so you don't have to think as you're running, how long have I got left. Should you be unfortunate enough not to make it, or sorry, I'm going to jump back slightly. With 2 minutes to go, I'm going to set the air horn off quickly, 3 quick blasts, so that if you're within hearing distance of that, that just gives you that extra little bit of, I really need to step it up, I've got to make this boat. Once the air horn goes off for the end of that stage, that is the end of that stage. If I can see you, I'm afraid you've still missed the cutoff. This is something I'm not looking forward to. I want to be a nice guy. I want to let everybody through. I want everybody to finish. But the way this race would work, if we started allowing, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 10 minutes, all of a sudden we've run out of light, we've run out of time for the boats, and it just doesn't work. So I know people feel, or some people have mentioned to me, that they think 7 minutes 30 per kilometre is actually quite a quick ultra marathon. It's the only way I can make it work, so I'm going to apologise in advance if that does feel tight. So if you do miss the cut-off, when the hooter goes, myself and the staff around me will be getting everything on board the boat. We'll hopefully do that very quickly, within a minute or so. Then the boat will leave. There will be a member of staff left on the quay, so your bags will be in the waiting room, so you can come along, get your bags in the waiting room, get yourself warmed up, sorted out. The race medic will also stay on the island, because we feel that there's more likely for someone who's missed the cut-off to potentially have an injury, rather than those that are sat on the boat quite happy. So there's the race medic, and then the last person will finish along with the sweeper. Okay, so there'll be someone at the back all the time. Once we know that person's back, we know that everyone's accounted for and everybody's safe. Then our sweeper boat will come along, pick you up and take you to the next island. From then on, you will not be allowed to rejoin the race. You can join in with plenty of spectating if you wanted to nip to various areas to see and cheer people on as they're running the course. That is totally fine, but you will not be able to take part in the actual race itself. Once you've caught up with people, so say for example I didn't make Briar, the sweeper boat would pick me up and take me to St Martin's. I'll cheer people on St Martin's, but then I will be able to get back onto the runner's boat. This means that the sweeper boat is empty, ready to start afresh with new people. But like I said, once you're cut, that is it. So even though you'd be on the runner's boat, you can chat with your fellow runners, be involved in everything, see the start and finish of every race or every stage from there, but you just won't be able to take part. I mentioned in an email earlier in the week about, I've had a few people email me about possible injuries, not being able to get as much training as they can. And unfortunately, mainly because of accommodation problems, but I've not had the numbers, I haven't got the reserve list that I assumed I would have when I started this project. I haven't been able to refund people that have got injuries, niggles, and reasons why they'd rather not, or why they don't think they'd be able to complete the race. So we have got an option now. If you're running and you've got a niggle, or you haven't done the training, you finish Brian, you're absolutely shattered, but you've made the cut-off. If you make the cut-off, you can choose to drop an island or 2 islands, whatever you feel. It will still count as a does not finish. However, you will be allowed to carry on an island of your choice as long as you make the cut-offs. If you don't make the cut-offs, that's it, game over. You won't be able to join back in. So I hope that makes sense. Please look out for each other. Like a lot of people have noticed, it's a really, really small staff group. Okay, I've got a few volunteers. I've specifically organised this so that I don't have to have a massive amount of volunteers. Because the boats have limited capacity, I want the main capacity to be for runners rather than volunteers. So if you see a runner that's fallen, ask them if they need help. If they do need help, if you've got a phone, I'll be sending an email out with my phone number on it. Give me a ring and we'll get the medic sent right there. If you've not got a phone number or not got a phone on you, the sweepers won't be far behind. There'll also be cameramen out and about with phones and VHF radios. So someone will come along quickly and we'll be able to get the medic out to you. If you feel it's serious, please just ring 999. Ask for the Coast Guard, okay, and they'll get help. The Coast Guards are prepped, or at least they know it's happening, so they are aware that we do have runners running the coast path. With regards to water, so for me, I had just one big 2-litre bottle of water, and I had a small soft flask that I'd already filled up, that I wanted to take with me on the St Mary's stage. But I had a 2-litre bottle that I drank from every time I was on the boat as I needed it, and then I filled it up when I got to St Mary's. Bring, either 2 1-litres or 1 2-litre, a good amount of water with you in your running bag. When it's getting low, or if you want to refill, when you drop your bags off, there's going to be a few crates for you to put your water bottles in. Beg your pardon, sorry. Once you put the water bottles in there, once the race has started, I will take them off, get all the water bottles filled back up, so that when you finish, you've got a full water bottle ready to go. If you're someone who likes electrolytes, whether it be tablet or powder form or whatever, then bring that along with you so that then you can plonk that in as soon as you get your water back. Please number or name your water bottles so that you know whose is whose for getting them back. Every one of us that runs on trails, we run on trails because they're beautiful places. We're really lucky that the Isles City Wildlife Trust keep our paths really well kept. No one's going to intentionally drop litter or any rubbish, but if you do notice that you've got a gel, like I said, I preferably fill up a soft flask with gels, but if you have got gels, if you bite the top off and you go to grab it and it flies out your hand, please pause and just pick up that bit of rubbish. I'd hate for people to complain later in the day that there was loads of rubbish after the event and they'd rather I didn't do it again. So, looking after nature and the event, please look after your rubbish. And if you see, a gel or, some obvious runner's rubbish, if you don't mind running and scooping it up and chucking it in your pocket, that will be greatly appreciated. So, when the race finishes, we're hoping everyone should be finished roughly around 8 o'clock in the evening. Like I said in my last email, unfortunately, we are going to have to bring things to a close a little bit quicker, with our boats heading back at 9:30 rather than 11 o'clock. So we'll eat. The Tresco estate have put on an amazing spread, or have planned to put on an amazing spread. So I'm really excited about that. There's a bar. There's everything. Hopefully everything that you need. Unfortunately, just the one shower. But chuck on your race t-shirt, your City 60 finisher t-shirt, and all is good. You don't need a shower after that. So yeah, get yourself warm, dry clothes on, come and grab some food, come and grab a beer. And then we'll do a celebration, giving out trophies. The trophies have almost finished being made. A couple of you have seen on either Oriel Hicks's or Phoenix Glassworks' Facebook page how they're coming along. They're not quite finished, but once I've got one completely finished, then I'll post it up. They are beautiful. So yeah, they're well worth running fast for if you think that you are up there that could run fast for it. So we'll give those trophies out. We'll finish the evening. And then about 9:20, it will be time to grab your bags and head to the quay. We're going to be picked up from Old Grimsby, so it's much closer, but make sure you've got everything you need. Head to the quay. We'll take you back to St Mary's. Those of you that are staying on different islands, if you're staying on St Martin's, we've organised a boat for you to get back to St Martin's. If you're on Briar, I'll talk to you individually about sorting that out. We've got a plan for that. But we'll come back to St Mary's. Gavin on Agnes, we'll figure something out for you as well. We'll come back to St Mary's, and right on the quay, there's a nice restaurant called On the Quay, and they've agreed to take us. So if you fancy another beer or two and keep the evening going, then you're more than welcome to join us up there. They do specialise in cocktails if that's something that you think is a post-race drink. I don't think I could have handled it, but we're all different. And then, yeah, enjoy the rest of your evening. So the registration is on Friday night for those of you that are staying on St Mary's. I think it's 5:30 till 7:30. I run a boarding house for students that live on all the smaller islands, and they come and stay at the boarding house Monday to Friday, and they go home normally on a boat around 4 o'clock-ish. So they'll all be gone. So we'll have the registration at the boarding house in the garden, and if you've got food that you've pre-prepared, or you planned on getting fish and chips or something like that, then if you fancy bringing it along and having a chat to new runners, then that'll be great. We'll be here 5:30 till 7:30-ish, which would be really nice. Really good questions just come up. What happens to the boat bags on the last run? So there's no waiting room at Carnear. However, we're going to have a couple of electric buses, and they'll be waiting for us. We'll put all the bags into the electric buses, and then once you guys have started off, they'll bus round to the community centre, and they'll be parked up waiting there for you, so that when you finish, you can grab your bag and get all your stuff there. Like I said in the information pack, as well as your running bag, have a small bag like a Tresco bag, so you've got a dry jumper, dry trousers, dry trainers, all of those nice little bits, maybe a small towel, whatever you feel you need, but just a small bag that you can just leave in the community hall throughout the day. The community hall will be locked while there's no one there, and then once the guys that are setting up for the evening come in, then there'll be staff there anyway. So I hope that helps with that. The spectator tickets, we've still got a fair few spectator tickets. So if anyone's got family or friends coming across and they want to get the most out of the day, we're not selling them through Tresco anymore. We've had a few hiccups with their shop, so it's just a case of emailing me the amount of tickets you want, and I'll send you through the backs details, and we'll just do it that way. And then to pick up your spectator tickets, just come along to registration, as with everybody else, and I'll give you wristbands to wear, and then that wristband allows you the boat tickets and your food ticket. So now's the chance to ping me across a couple of questions if you've got any other questions, and I'll do my best to answer those. Thinking back with the last question, what happens with the boats for Tresco, or the bags for Tresco? The same on the way when we first start. Drop your running bags in the waiting room, but you can keep your jackets on, stay warm, walk to the community centre, and then we'll put our jackets either onto a truck or into containers, and then we'll bus them to the quay ready and waiting for you, along with your bags. If you're wearing a dry robe, which it seems like a lot of people are going to, please make sure that you've labelled it so it's obvious. So toilets, there's a toilet at every quay. When you finish your run, get yourself to the toilet if you need that. That is all within your time. So if you're on the loo and you hear the 3 hooters, finish up quick. Please, no phones in the toilet. Okay, please don't sit there and send all your friends loads of messages about how it's going with a queue of people outside. So so please do that. So the spectator tickets, sometimes it will be the same boat, sometimes it will be a different boat, but they will be transferred at slightly different times, which is why the spectators will watch all of Tresco. The runner's boat will go and take people to Briar. A separate boat will come and pick up the spectators and take them to St Martin's. We'll finish running Briar, and then we'll come along to St Martin's slightly later, and then the spectators will meet us there. The same will happen on St Martin's. We'll finish and leave, and there'll be a separate boat, or likely to be a separate boat, maybe the same boat that has to go there and back, will come and pick us up to St Mary's. And then again, once we've left to St Agnes, then it will be a case of the spectator boat will take you straight to Carnear, ready to watch the final race. Markers, race numbers. The race numbers that we've got are just general pin on your tops. I know this isn't ideal as you're potentially going to be changing your tops. I didn't think things through when I ordered it all. If you think that you can get it pinned to shorts or leggings, that's fine. Ideally something on the front. If the weather's poor and wet, and you can't have that because you've changed so many times or whatever, you'll have your wristband anyway, but when you see a staff member, just please shout your number out so that we can tick you off. So the main reason for the numbers is just so that we know. It makes our life much easier as we're ticking you off. There will be checkers in a couple of places on each island. We'll just check you off, make sure that everyone's accounted for. So that's all fine. Tri-belts for numbers. I don't own a tri-belt, so I don't know if the numbers go at the front or the back. Ideally, the front is where we'd like the numbers. However you place them is absolutely fine, but ideally, if they're attached to the front, it means that we can see your number from a fair distance off, and then we can get ready to make sure we write your time down correctly. If you've got a running rucksack, you could always attach it, say one strap, and then just pin it to the other side when you start. It's another quirk with S60, I'm afraid. But don't get hung up with it. It's not the end of the world if we can't make it work. If the weather's not working, we'll just do everything we can to make things a nice time. The aim is for it to be a good time. Someone just asked about St Agnes. So St Agnes is 8.9 kilometres, and we've got 1 hour and 7 minutes to complete that stage. I would advise, if you're someone who records your runs on a watch or a phone, and you normally run in miles, I'd be quite tempted to change it to kilometres just for the race. Maybe spend a week getting your head round all of those kind of bits. But all the times and stuff are all done specifically to the 7:30 per kilometre. In theory, 12-minute miles is meant to be exactly the same, but if there's a slight variation, everything is done to 7:30 per kilometre. So if you're doing it by kilometre, it should be right. Now, obviously, there's always fluctuations in GPS. So each time I've run Tresco, the first time I ran it was 9.8, the second time I ran it was 10.1, and the last time I ran it at the weekend was 10.6 kilometres. So it's all slightly different. I've allowed the longest distance that I've recorded on each island, so it gives the most amount of time for each island. If your watch for some reason says Tresco is 12 kilometres, I'm really sorry. I'm just doing my best. Have I answered everyone's questions? Is there any other question? If I haven't answered it, please just quickly type it again so it comes up, because they only stay up for the last 2 people that have written anything. I am going to try and get this posted back up. If it does work, then great. If not, I am trying to record it on a separate device at the same time. So hopefully one way or the other, I can post this back on. Back onto Facebook. Do we need torches? No. We should be finished by 8 o'clock. Sunset is 9 o'clock, so we shouldn't need any torches whatsoever. So please don't worry about that. Cut-offs for each island. So I'll just quickly grab my papers. So Tresco, 10.6 kilometres and 1 hour and 17 minutes. Again, I will email out an updated information pack early next week with all the slightly amended times and bits and pieces. Stage 2, Briar, 7.9 kilometres, 1 hour exactly. Stage 3, 10 kilometres, 1 hour and 15 minutes. Stage 4, 18 kilometres, 2 hours and 15 minutes. Stage 5, 8.9 kilometres, 1 hour and 7 minutes. And Tresco, the last stage, is 6.2 kilometres, no cut-offs at all. Enjoy your run. It'll be great to just enjoy all of it. Are running poles allowed? Yes, I've got no problem with it. However, a lot of the paths are not quite wide enough for 2 feet. So I think a lot of time you're going to have your poles bouncing into your legs. I've not run with poles. I've done a lot of walking with poles, but I've not run with the poles, especially on the islands. So if someone uses them, I'll be really interested to know what your thoughts are, and how were they an advantage for this race. So it's up to you. If you think that they'll help you, great. I think because so many of the paths are so thin, I don't think it will be a great help. But if you're used to running with poles for long runs, then that's totally up to you. Cool. Any other questions? So these are the S60 t-shirts. you won't get one of these. You'll get a slightly different one, a unique one for participating in the actual event. I didn't do the actual event, so I just got a normal one. But I still love mine. I'm walking around proud in mine, like, yay, I done that. So that was great. Thank you all very much for joining me. If you do have any other questions, just plonk them on the Facebook page and I'll answer them. Chances are, if you're thinking it, someone else is thinking it too. So just let me know. I'll do my best. I'm going to start marking the course on Monday week. So everything should be all well and marked, nice and early. And yeah, you know, it's 2 weeks of eating cake. So enjoy that. Does the Seahorse fit 75 inside? No, it doesn't. It's 100 capacity. There is an inside, and you can probably get 40, maybe up to 50 people inside. But if it is a really miserable day, please take it in turns to get inside and outside. So yeah, it's going to be a really great event. I'm really excited for it, and yeah, if you're over before the Friday and you want to get in touch, feel free, just drop me a line. I could always meet up, we could have a walk, and if you've got any chats or any questions, let me know. And yeah, it should be a really nice time. I'll see you all at registration. So cool, thank you very much. Will it happen next year? I'm hoping so. I can't make any decisions until this one's happened, because I've no idea. You know, this was just an idea that I had, and it's grown and grown, and here we all are, 2 weeks to go. I'd love to see it return. I just need to make sure everything runs smoothly. In my head, everything's working, but I'm sure there's going to be lots of little bits and pieces that I've not quite thought of, but hopefully everything's, you know, those little bits will be really minor events and minor things. So fingers crossed, all work fine, and then I'll be able to get out next year's date within 2 or 3 weeks of the finish. So brilliant. Well, thank you all very much for joining me, and I'll see you all in 2 weeks. Brilliant. Take care, everyone.